Hare Krishna, welcome everyone to our program, our classes on Nectar of Devotion. Today's session we will dedicate our time for doing a quiz. This quiz is based on the preface, the introduction, and the first chapter of the book Nectar of Devotion. A questionnaire or the quiz has been issued to the participants before we are doing this session. 1 week ago we had already issued the quiz. I have received roughly 7 responses for the quiz, which is a good response. Many devotees I have seen have answered with a lot of, they have done a lot of hard work and dedication. They have answered their questions. So that is very nice to see. We will straight away start our program with Mangalacharan prayers. ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनाशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Okay, let us start our discussion. The quiz on Nectar of Devotion, covering topics preface, introduction, and chapter number 1. In total, we have 16 questions. And since first question was asking for your name and your place of residence, we will start away from the second question of the quiz. 4 instructions. So the question was, write down 4 main instructions of Lord Chaitanya gave to the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan. So kindly raise your hands. This is not a multiple choice question. This is a descriptive question, explanatory question. So let us take point by point responses from various devotees. Okay, Rakesh ji is raising his hand. Rakesh ji, what would you like to answer for this response, for this question? Please unmute your mic.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhuji, first instruction was uncover places of Radha Krishna pastimes,
Okay.
construct temples,
Mm-hmm.
then write books on bhakti,
Hmm.
add conclusion of Vedic scriptures,
Hmm.
and lastly exemplify bhakti from their own lives and teach Sadharma.
Very nice. Very nice. I hope other devotees have also answered on the similar lines. Was this a very difficult question? I
Yes,
think this was easy
this was
question.
easy.
Yes, yes,
This
This
Prabhu.
was
was
easy.
easy.
Now my counter question to this is, why are we trying to understand the 4 main instruction Lord Chaitanya gave to 6 Goswamis? What is the point that is relevant to our purpose in this case?
To develop bhakti, Prabhuji?
Yeah, to develop bhakti, that is fine. I mean, there are 4 things like Leela Sthalis, Radha Krishna pastimes mean Leela Sthalis. So uncover those Leela Sthalis. Construct temples, again, we need a place for worship. So facilitating by constructing temple. Then the third point is write books to establish Shuddha Bhakti as the conclusion of Vedic scriptures. So this third bullet is mainly which is most relevant to us. Why? Because we are studying a book called Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu written by Srila Rupa Goswami. And Rupa Goswami wrote that book on the instruction of Lord Chaitanya. Not only Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, but he also wrote many other books. But important point is the purpose why he was writing this book. To establish Shuddha Bhakti as conclusion of Vedic scriptures. Now you can see Vedic scriptures contain lots and lots of subject matter. There are many things. Karma Kanda, there are Jnana Kanda, there are Upasana Kanda, and there are like that. There are many aspects, many subjects that are covered in Vedic scriptures. But what is most important is Shuddha Bhakti as conclusion. Conclusion means ultimately a living entity has to do Shuddha Bhakti or at least to reach Shuddha Bhakti in order to achieve the purpose of Vedic scriptures. That is what is most important for us. And in order to establish Shuddha Bhakti, we need to understand what is Shuddha Bhakti. And we can understand Shuddha Bhakti through this book called Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. So that is why we need to understand the background behind this book. And that is why this question came. And not only write books, but also to exemplify. Exemplify means practice bhakti, practice Shuddha Bhakti, and teach that Shuddha Bhakti to others. And this is through this class on our like what we are doing right now. This is an attempt to try to teach that bhakti, try to teach that science of bhakti through this class. So these basically last 2 points is something which is most relevant to us as far as this course we are doing on Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Nectar of Devotion. So very good response. Now we go to the next question. The next question is explain the word rasa. What is meant by the word rasa? How is Bhakti Ras different from ordinary Ras? And this is what we covered was in from the preface of the slide. Okay, now Manish ji is raising his hand. Yes, Manish Prabhu, please come.
Yes, Prabhuji. So
Haji.
based on whatever we studied, I think rasa means nothing but it is a taste or it is a relationship. So, and this rasa, what we are talking about is the bhakti rasa, is nothing but it is a taste that how we serve the Lord, and is like Amrit, sweet and eternal, never finished. So this is what typically bhakti rasa means, but typical rasa what we talk is nothing but this the relationship, or this is nothing but some taste, the taste of ordinary rasa, which doesn't last long, and is typically kind of a typically mundane rasa, correct? But the bhakti rasa is something very much different from this ordinary rasa, and it is nothing but serving the Lord, the service to the Lord.
Okay.
And
Okay.
like
I can, I think you have mostly responded to the second question. How is Bhakti Rasa different from ordinary Rasa? And I think the points that you are giving are very okay, very much okay. But I need a little bit more explanation on what is meant by the word Rasa. You gave you gave a response that it is called taste or relationship, but I need a little more deeper understanding of the word rasa. Anyone else also would like to attempt? What is meant by
Bhakti
the word
rasa
rasa?
means taste in the service of the Lord.
Prabhuji, only rasa, not bhakti rasa or not mundane rasa. What is rasa?
Prabhuji,
The driving force or the pleasure one receives during any sort of a service, the kind of mellow one experiences is called rasa.
Yes. Very good. That's the definition. First of all, we need to understand. Rakesh Prabhu, you are also saying the same thing?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. So first of all, we need to understand what is rasa. So rasa actually means any activity we do Why do we do any activity? Because we enjoy, we get some taste out of doing that activity. For example, if we are playing cricket, people when we say that you want to play cricket, people are saying yes, we want to play cricket. Why do they want to play cricket? Because they get a certain type of enjoyment, certain kind of a rasa, certain kind of taste by playing cricket. So similarly, when we say any activity like, for example, cooking, cooking also, some people like cooking, some people like gardening, some people like doing scientific discoveries, some people like studying scientific books. So each and every activity, we get some taste, and that taste drives us to, because we enjoy that taste, because we like that taste actually drives us to do that activity. Similarly, not only activity, but relationship also. Relationship means uh, I am related to some people as a master. Maybe some people are serving me. Maybe, for example, I have a servant at my house. I have a maid servant at my house. I have a person who comes to clean my car at my house. They are all, I'm paying them some money. They are reporting to me. They have to kind of listen to my whatever I'm asking them to serve me. So they are in a relationship of a dasya, means like a in a servitorhood. So similarly, there are other relationships like, for example, I have friend, then I have my parents, and I am also a parent of some person, some people. That is also, that relationship also has a rasa, that also has a taste, unique taste. Similarly, as a husband, as a relationship with a lady, as my wife, I have another different type of a relationship with that person. So two things, every activity means every service or a relationship has an attractive feature. Attractive feature means pleasure. So whenever I am in a relationship, I'm doing some activity, I'm enjoying something, which drives the servitor. Huh? Like family man, a nationalist, a philanthropist. Philanthropist means somebody who likes to do some charity work, some activity for the benefit, for the welfare of others. Uh, they are also enjoying, they are also getting some taste. So rasa actually also means juice. This driving force is called rasa, a kind of mellow. Literally, we call it juice. When you eat a fruit, that fruit has a juice, and the taste that you get by eating that fruit actually comes from that juice, not from the pulp. If you remove the juice and simply eat the pulp, you will not get any taste. The taste actually comes from the juice, and that juice is actually called rasa. So any activity or relationship has some rasa, and that drives the person to do it. That is actually the word rasa. Now, what is the difference between bhakti rasa and ordinary rasa? We will understand that. So, first of all, we will see what is ordinary rasa. Hmm? Ordinary rasa has two features. One is called bhog tyag, and the another one is called chapal sukh. Bhog tyag means we, with ordinary rasa, when we are doing ordinary mundane activities, for example, cleaning the house or going for our job, uh, spending time with the family, and so on and so forth, these kind of examples of ordinary rasa, like a family man engaging with the family, a nationalist serving the country, a philanthropist serving the humanity, etc., etc. These are examples of ordinary rasa. So one feature is it is oscillating. Oscillating means whenever we are engaged in ordinary rasa, we get some enjoyment, but after some time we start getting bored from that enjoyment. We don't derive that pleasure any longer. Then what we want to do, we want to step out from that activity, spend time without that activity, and that is called tyag. So bhog and tyag. The example is a person who is serving a company goes to serve the company every day uh, for maybe continuously for 6 months, but after 6 months he get bored. I need a break. I need a break, and then he goes for holiday. Holiday again, he starts to enjoy the holiday, relaxing with the family, relaxing with friends, going out. But if the holiday also goes too long, then he says that no, I'm not now enjoying this holiday. Again, he wants to come back to the work and enjoy that work. So this is called bhog and tyag. So ordinary rasa is oscillating. Bhog and tyag. It does not satisfy us permanently. For a time being, it will satisfy us. Again, we need to take a break. Again, we come back to that same activity. Again, it starts to satisfy us. So it is oscillating. So this is one feature of ordinary rasa. Second feature of ordinary rasa is it is temporary. Chapala sukh. Chapala sukh means chapal means flickering. Like chapal means it is available now, but it will not be available later. So, for example, a boy when he is small, maybe 5 years old, 7 years old, 6 years old, he likes to play with a toy gun. But when he becomes 10 years old or maybe 15 years old, he doesn't know, he no longer enjoy playing with the toy gun. He needs something else. Now maybe he need a bicycle. At 15 years of age, he need a bicycle to enjoy. But after some time, he does not enjoy even bicycle. Now he needs a car or he needs a scooter. And maybe he becomes a little more grown up, then he doesn't enjoy bicycle or car or scooter. Maybe he now wants something more adventurous or more enjoyable. So this is called temporariness of the ordinary rasa. Chapala sukh. It does not last long. It ends at some point of time. So these are two features of ordinary rasa. But bhakti rasa is opposite to ordinary rasa. Bhakti rasa is opposite to ordinary rasa in the sense that ordinary rasa is oscillating. It does not satisfy us, but bhakti rasa satisfies us fully without oscillation. Once we start getting satisfaction in bhakti rasa, we don't want to go back to any other thing. We start enjoying it continuously. Start to enjoying it, and there is no oscillation. Then lasts eternally. Lasts eternally means it is not temporary. Even if the person dies in this lifetime, when the person completes this life, when he dies, again in the next lifetime, the bhakti rasa, the taste still continues. So this is amrita. This is amrita. Now, why are we studying this aspect of rasa? We are studying this aspect of rasa because we are studying Bhakti Ras Amrit Sindhu. The title of the book that we are studying is Bhakti Ras Amrit Sindhu. So we need to have a very clear understanding of the word rasa, a taste or a driving force which drives us to do an activity. Then we want to understand why are we doing study of Bhakti Rasa? It is because it is different from ordinary rasa. Bhakti rasa is satisfies us without any oscillation and it lasts eternally. And that is what we want. That is everyone wants. They want happiness, they want satisfaction, they want contempt, full satisfaction of the heart because they want to become happy. And that bhakti rasa we achieve only by serving the Supreme Lord, like what was mentioned again and again by Manish ji in his response. So bhakti rasa amrit. Amrit means it lasts eternally. It doesn't die. It continues to go on. And Sindhu, because it continues to satisfy us, it continues to grow and grow and grow. And that is why it is a Sindhu. It is unlimited ocean. It is unlimited ocean. So this is the word, meaning of word rasa gives you a good understanding of what actually is Bhakti Ras Amrit Sindhu. So that is what we need to understand very clearly. I hope that was clear. So we move ahead to our next question. Next question is subject matter and benefits of nectar of devotion. We just now understood at least one benefit of nectar of devotion, that it gives us full satisfaction and it actually gives us eternal pleasure. But let us understand a little bit more. What is the subject matter of the book Nectar of Devotion? What are the benefits of reading Nectar of Devotion? So any response devotees would like to give? Jivan Prabhu, you want to say something on this?
Yeah, Prabhu. Actually, the following are the points which are covered in the subject matter of Nectar of Devotion. All first point is all bona fide activities of Krishna consciousness are amurta, are permanent. This is the subject matter, first subject. That is the crux of the entire thing. Then point number 2 is how to engage oneself in the eternally in the Bhakti Rasa. This is the second point. Then once he gets into Bhakti Rasa, one gets purified, and then once the purification becomes stable, one will be eternally situated in that Bhakti Rasa. Next point is, nectar of devotion teaches us how to love Krishna and remain fully satisfied. That is the next point. Then the fifth point is, if you learn to love Lord Krishna, then we learn how to love all the living entities. Next point is the process. This advantage benefit is the process of devote service, Bhakti Yoga, as it is recommended in Nectar of Devotion, will gradually enable to one to go from material life to spiritual life. Once you want to shift from material life to spiritual life, reading this Nectar and following the instruction of Nectar of Vidyat, he will get a lot of benefit. He will really get into spirituality. These are all the points I want to.
Yes, Prabhu, all very good points. I think you covered more or less everything. I have answered the same things, same question in a little different way. So like to share my response also. I have tried to keep it a little short so that some of the points that you have mentioned might be clubbed into one category, or could be clubbed, 3 points could be clubbed into one category. So I just kept it a little short. So you can check here, I mean, what I'm trying to say here. Say, first of all, just the previous question we talked about rasa, right? So Nectar of Devotion illustrates the profound philosophy and subtle nuances behind rasa. So what is rasa? As we discussed, it is spiritual taste. We are mainly talking about bhakti rasa. Bhakti rasa means spiritual taste. So it illustrates the profound philosophy and subtle nuances. So what is meant by profound philosophy and subtle nuances? Profound philosophy, what we are trying to study in Nectar of Devotion, what is meant by bhakti, what is uttama bhakti, how many types of uttama bhakti are there? There are Vaidhi bhakti, there are bhava bhakti, there are prema bhakti, like that. So we are talking about philosophy, profound philosophy of behind this rasa. How do we understand this uttama bhakti? So there is philosophy involved here. So there is a lot of philosophy, profound philosophy. And first 4 or 5 chapters is dedicated primarily on the profound philosophy of the rasa. Then subtle nuances. Subtle nuances means, for example, we are differentiating between various aspects of bhakti. For example, what is Vaidhi bhakti? Then what is bhava bhakti? Then what is prema bhakti? What is the difference between prema bhakti and bhava bhakti? So these are subtle differences. All 3 of them are bhakti, practices of bhakti, but there are different there are subtle small differences between Vaidhi, sadhana, Vaidhi bhakti, then bhava bhakti, then prema bhakti, like that. Then what are the different qualities of bhakti? We talked about Klesh Agni, we talked about Shubhada, we talked about Moksha Laghuta Krit, and so on. So first and foremost subject matter is profound philosophy and subtle variations, subtle nuances behind this rasa, behind this bhakti rasa. Then second point is Nectar of Devotion takes us on a spiritual journey from fundamental principles and practices of bhakti to the highest level of bhakti seen in the eternal associates of Krishna in Vrindavan. It takes us on a spiritual journey from fundamental principles. Fundamental principles, we are talking about Vaidhi bhakti. If we are not really very elevated stage, we are not very purified stage, then fundamentally where to start our bhakti from? And then by starting the bhakti at a very fundamental stage, actually it takes us to the highest level of bhakti, bhava bhakti, prema bhakti, and so on. And this highest level of bhakti, what type of bhakti we are talking about? We are talking about bhakti in the eternal associates of Krishna in Vrindavan, like the gopis. They were performing bhakti in certain mood. So what kind of bhakti they were performing? So that is what the main subject matter of this nectar of devotion. Philosophical understanding of bhakti or bhakti rasa, and then understanding the variations from the fundamental stage to the highest level of bhakti. That's what we are the main subject matter. Then what are the benefits of nectar of devotion? So just now Jivan Prabhu mentioned few of them. So some of the benefits are we get fully satisfied when we learn to love Krishna. See, everyone is leading a life and everyone is looking for one thing, even if it is a small ant or maybe one of the richest person on the globe. Everyone is actually looking for what? They are looking for happiness. They are looking for inner fulfillment. We are trying to look for this inner fulfillment in material things, but we are not getting that fulfillment. Still, that is why we are shifting things. Now I am not getting it here, maybe I'll get here. Then we don't get it here, we try something else. Maybe in this relationship we don't get fulfillment, we try to go to enter into another relationship to get that fulfillment. We don't get it there, we try to enter into another relationship to get the fulfillment. But when we learn to love Krishna, who is the supreme Lord, who is the primary cause of everything, who is the absolute truth, then we feel fully satisfied. So this is the full satisfaction we can get by learning to love Krishna, and that is the benefit we can get. It is not that we will experience this only when we will be 100% able to love Krishna. No, as we continue to progress, this level of satisfaction, this level of happiness also continues to increase and increase, and we can experience it. We can experience it. The second benefit is we can immediately and simultaneously love everyone else. Immediately and simultaneously can learn to love everyone else. Now, if we are learning to love our family, then we are not learning to love other who are outside our family. If we are learning our country, then we are not learning to love other countries. We might have an inimical attitude toward other countries. But if we learn to love Krishna, the primary living entity, the primary supreme entity, then we immediately and simultaneously learn to love everyone else. So these are the two important benefits, and you would see that if you progress in bhakti, this attitude, this mindset, this inclination toward other people, toward your in your own life, you will see it will continue to increase. So this is the subject matter and benefit of nectar of devotion, concisely put into two bullets for the subject matter and two bullets for the benefits. You can summarize all other points under these two headings. Okay, now we will move to the next question. Purpose of Mangalacharan. Purpose of Mangalacharan. For what purpose a Mangalacharan prayer is done? This is what we discussed in our introduction slides. So anyone would like to respond to that? Purpose of doing Mangalacharan? General question. You may respond to it by giving the example of nectar of devotion also, but in general, if you want to say about it, that is also fine. Anyone would like to attempt that? Yes, Rakesh Prabhu. Oh, sorry, it was a multiple choice question. Yeah. It defines the objective of the book. Author takes the chance to offer obeisances. It offer benedictions, all of the above. Yeah.
All of the above, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Sorry, I forgot that it was a multiple choice question. Yeah. Now you are right. All of the above. So it defines the objective of the book. So what is the objective of the book? What is the objective?
यही objective to understand Bhakti Rasa.
To understand Bhakti Rasa. Very good. Yes. Objective of the book is to understand Bhakti Rasa. Very
and
good.
how to love Krishna.
How to love Krishna. Yes, very good. Okay. Second, author takes the chance to offer obeisances. So what does the author do? Whom does he pay his obeisances in the Mangalacharan?
He pays obeisances to Lord Krishna,
Mhm.
who is Akhil Rasamrit Murti, Lord Krishna,
Yes, yes,
and
okay.
requesting that like gopis, he also get attracted to him.
Yes, yes, very good. But he offers obeisances to many more people. Who are those? Okay, no worries. We will explain. So it offer benedictions. So what benediction does it offer in the Mangalacharan?
He could do justice writing of the book Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu.
Okay, okay. See, we can understand this. See, this was very good. The point number A, it defines the objective of the book. Objective of the book is to understand Bhakti Rasa. And in order to understand Bhakti Rasa, the author is offering obeisances, his pranam to Lord Krishna. And he is offering Lord Krishna, or he is addressing Lord Krishna as Akhil Rasamrit Murti. Akhil Rasamrit Murti. He is not addressing Lord Krishna as, for example, Parth Sarthi. He's not offering obeisances to Lord Krishna, who is Deen Dayal. He's offering obeisances to that Krishna who is Akhil Rasamrit Murti, or he's not offering obeisances to Lord Krishna who is all powerful, who is all powerful Lord. He's offering obeisances to that Lord Krishna who is Akhila Rasamrit Murti. Because why Akhila Rasamrit Murti? Because the subject matter of the book is Bhakti Rasa, and he's saying, "Oh Lord Krishna, you are the owner of all the rasas. So I'm offering my obeisances to you so that you can also bestow to me the Bhakti Rasa. And like you have given this Bhakti Rasa to the gopis, similarly, you can also give us Bhakti Rasa to us also." Yeah, and it offer benedictions. It takes chance to offer obeisances. So he offer obeisances to, first of all, Lord Krishna in the very first verse. Then he offer obeisances to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Then he offer his obeisances to Sanatan Goswami, who is his elder brother and who is also his spiritual master. And then he offers obeisances to the Vaishnavas. So Mangalacharan in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu actually comprises of first 6-7 verses. First 6-7 verses are all Mangalacharan verses. Then he offer benedictions. What benedictions does he offer? He offers this benediction that if I am learned of Bhakti Rasa, then it will protect me from the arguments of the Mimamsakas. Mimamsakas are philosophers. Philosophers are either falling into the category of karma kanda, or philosophers falling into the category of jnana kanda. Karma kanda means fruitive activities. If you do this worship, then you get health. If you do this worship, you get money, like that. So these are karma kandi mimamsakas. Then the second category is jnana kandas, jnana kandi mimamsakas. Mimamsaka means philosophers. So jnana philosophers are always interested in moksha or mukti, or merging into the impersonal absolute. That's what they are more interested. So once you understand Bhakti Rasa, the benediction it offers is that you will be protected from the Karma Kandi Mimamsakas and the Gyan Kanda Mimamsakas and so on. So all of the above. Like that, we can understand the purpose of Mangalacharan. So there are 3 purposes of Mangalacharan, and all 3 purposes of Mangalacharan we see when we study first 6-7 verses of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. We see that these all objectives, these all purposes of Mangalacharan are met by Srila Rupa Goswami in the book Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Okay, are these questions getting clear? First, second, third, fourth, fifth, all 4 questions that we discussed just now, are they making sense? Is it improving your understanding? Can you give me quick feedback, maybe 2-3 devotees? Is it helping you?
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. Okay. Now let us go to the very first verse. Now we will look. So first 6-7 verses are the Mangala Charan verses, but out of these 6 verses, we are now focusing on the very first verse, which was the opening verse of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. What is Srila Rupa Goswami trying to achieve by doing Mangala Charan in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.1.1? So this is, I think, the subjective question, descriptive question. So anyone would like to respond to that? Any devotee would like to share their answer? Yes, Vidya Mataji, please go ahead.
Prabhuji, in this verse, you had explained that it is just seeking to attain objective of bhakti, paying obeisances and offering benedictions. This adds to Vaishnava's vandana for true bhakta.
Okay. Okay, that is fine, Mataji. That is objective. We are achieving objective. But what was that objective?
To praying for Sri Lord Krishna or love for Lord Krishna.
Yes. So Rupa Goswami in this verse is establishing Lord Krishna as the object and goal of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Then he does that by addressing Krishna as Akhil Rasamrit Murti. So he's addressing Lord Krishna as the object and goal, but he's specifically addressing him as Akhil Rasamrit Murti. He is not addressing the Lord as creator, supreme controller, all powerful, etc. He is addressing Lord Krishna in the mood of Vrindavan as lover of gopis. So you would see that in this very first verse, there is a mention of names of 6 gopis. And 2 of them actually are attracted towards Krishna. 2 other gopis are at a more equal level of Krishna, where they exchange equal level of dealings with each other. Then Srimati Radhika Rani is mentioned as another gopi who actually Krishna gets attracted towards Srimati Radhika Rani. Now the point is, what we are trying to say is, you can understand God in different ways. One way of understanding God is in a very analytical way. Analytical way means, for example, Lord is the supreme creator. He is the supreme controller. He is all powerful. So here the understanding of Lord is more at a analytical level, where we are understanding about the power of God, where we are understanding God as somebody who is very high up, and we look towards God in the mood of awe and reverence, in a mood of lot of submission, as a mood of awe and reverence. We look towards God. But then God has a very sweet nature also. He has a very lovely, he likes to deal with his devotees in a very loving and caring way, in a very sweet way. That is a different aspect of Lord. For example, when we see the CEO of a company, for example, let us name somebody, Mukesh Ambani. When we go and meet Mukesh Ambani in his office, how will he meet with us? He will meet with us in a very formal way. You have to take an appointment, and then he will give some 5 minutes, and then in 5 minutes we have to be very specific what we are trying to say to Mukesh Ambani, and then he might respond to us, he might choose not to respond to us, he might give us a very formal response. It will be a very formal, a very like a very calculated discussion with Mukesh Ambani if we go and meet him within his office. But the same person, Mukesh Ambani, when he comes home, then we see that Mukesh Ambani actually is laughing with his wife. He's actually playing with his 5-year-old kid, and he's actually enjoying and chatting very nicely. He's holding one kid who is actually stretching his collar, his coat, and so on. Now there we see a very different way of dealing with Mukesh Ambani. In the office, he's actually the boss. Everyone is paying namaskar and pranams to Mukesh Ambani. He is controlling everything in the office. But now when he comes home, he's a very different person. His son actually can also climb on him and beat him also out of love and affection. And he will tolerate. Actually, he might laugh when his son is actually beating him. So the point is, similarly in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, the objective of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu is Bhakti Rasa, sweetness. And that is the sweetness we are trying to understand in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. That juice, that taste, that sweetness of the Supreme Lord, we are trying to taste in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. And that is the main objective Rup Goswami is trying to achieve in the very first verse of Mangalacharan. He is trying to portray Krishna as a very sweet Lord, as a sweet Lord, as a lover of gopis. And that is what we are trying to achieve by understanding Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. So this is what we need to actually understand. So he is indirectly, Srila Rupa Goswami is indirectly hinting the reader to the kind of rasa he wants the reader to taste by reading and studying Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. So we are not studying about Lord Krishna, that he is the supreme controller, he is the creator, he is all powerful, but that Vrindavan Krishna is the objective of this book. And that is what we are trying to achieve. We are trying to, that is the goal of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu or this particular book. So that is how we need to understand. So you can see we are building upon the very first question, what was the objective Rupa Goswami was given, like what we see here in these slides. Maybe we will not go back to those slides, probably it will take some time. But rasa we want to understand, and then we want to understand what is the objective, how Rupa Goswami is bringing out that message in his different verses and in this particular book. Now we move to the Rakesh ji, you are raising your hand. You want to ask something?
No, Prabhuji, by mistake.
Okay, no problem, no problem. Okay, now we move to the next part. Vaishnavas as Makara fish. So we just now studied that Rupa Goswami had paid obeisances to the Vaishnavas, and by paying obeisances to the Vaishnavas, he is addressing these Vaishnavas as Makara. Makara is a very big fish. This fish has been mentioned in Bhagavad Gita also, where Lord Krishna is saying that among fishes, I am Makara. Like that. So, the question is, Srila Rupa Goswami compares Vaishnavas to Makara fish in the 4th verse of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Explain this analogy. So, we need to explain this analogy. Why he is comparing Vaishnavas with the Makara fish? So, anyone would like to respond to that?
Can I do that, Prabhu, or anybody else would like to volunteer?
Yeah, let us see if anybody would like to come forward. Otherwise, please go ahead, Prabhuji. Is there anyone other than Jivan Prabhu would like to respond to this? Okay, Vasudevan Prabhu, you want to try?
Yes,
Yeah, I want
try.
to this thing.
Okay.
Actually,
Yes.
devotees joyfully swim in the unlimited ocean of Bhakti Rasa.
Jivan Prabhu, Vasudevan Prabhu volunteered to answer this. So if you don't mind,
Prabhuji.
yeah, let us give him the opportunity to explain this. Okay. Yes, Vasudevan Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhuji. So, what here the comparison is this Bhaktas or the Vaishnavas swim in the sea of Bhakti, ignoring the river, small rivers of liberation, and they are not without disregard to the fear of the net. Normally, when fishes in the shallow water, they have to fear of the net, the fisherman's net, and the smaller rivers. So here the analogy is the river is considered to be like liberation or the impersonal Brahman, this thing. And
Correct.
the fisherman net, smaller fish, is the other material and smaller benefits. So they are in the deep sea, in the sea of Bhakti Rasa. They are in the sea of Bhakti Rasa, like a Makara fish which swims in deep sea where the fisherman's net also can't, and they are not attracted by the waters of the river because it's too small for them.
Right. Very good. So there are the 3 points here. So one point is the makara fish is a big fish, and the fish actually needs, because it is big fish, they like to swim in a big water body. They don't like to swim in a small river where they find themselves constrained. So that is why the Vaishnavas are compared to makara fish. So they joyfully swim in the unlimited ocean of Bhakti Rasa. Unlimited means it is vast, it is very big, and they really feel very joy when they are swimming in the unlimited ocean of Bhakti Rasa. What does it mean? It means that because the ocean is compared to Bhakti and the rivers are compared to liberation. So what does it mean? It means that the devotees don't like to merge like impersonalists into impersonal Brahmajyoti, but they delight in serving the Lord. So here they joyfully swim is actually serving to the Lord. They want to do some service. They want to do some seva for the pleasure of the Lord. So that is the first reason. The second reason is also very limited, also related to the first reason, but it presents it in a different way. Devotees ignore liberation, which are like rivers with very limited water. That means the happiness of merging with Brahman is limited. So when any practitioner of spiritual life is only targeting impersonal liberation, the happiness in impersonal liberation is very, very limited. That is why devotees ignore these rivers and they actually want to swim in the ocean. And the third point is they disregard the fear arising from time's net. So devotees are not at all concerned about, they are not at all fearful about what time can do for them. The nature of time is to destroy. Nature of time is destroy. Similarly, devotee in their life also will meet their death anyway. And if everyone has to meet their death, devotees also will meet their death, but they are not fearful of death. And then why this makara fish analogy is compared? Because the makara fish swim very deep inside the ocean, and if at all there is a fisherman in the ocean and he casts that net of time to catch that fish, they cannot catch the makara fish because it is swimming very deep inside the ocean. So the net of the fisherman actually is compared to the net of the time. So these are the 3 main points which we need to remember and understand why Vaishnavas have been compared as makara fish. Okay. Definition of Uttama Bhakti. Now this is one of the most important ones in this particular theme of questions. Bhakti Samrat Sindhu, first chapter, 11th verse provides definition of pure devotional service, Uttama Bhakti. Explain briefly all the main points of this definition. Now let us request few devotees, and maybe one by one, if they can respond to the answer to this question, that might be involve everyone, and then maybe we can. Yes, Rakesh Prabhu, you want to say?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Okay, please start.
Prabhuji, main points are: number 1, Krishna Anushilanam. It should be Krishna Anushilanam. Yani we have to do some activity following the rules and regulation as told us by our predecessor Acharyas.
Okay.
For Krishna. Or
For
we
Krishna.
can do it for his expansions also. Like
Okay.
Rama, Narsimha.
Okay.
Secondly, Anukulyena. It should be Anukulyena.
Mhm.
Attitude towards Krishna should be favorable and devoid of hostility.
Hostility, very good.
Number 3rd
Yes.
point is Abhilashita Shunyam.
Okay, wait a minute. Now let us ask, this is the second line you are coming. Let us ask anyone else who would like to respond to this.
Actually, it should be done with the body. Whatever we do, it should be an active thing. And
Yeah.
we should do it with the body, mind, and
Yeah. Okay.
Kayena, Manasa, Vacha. All these things
Yeah.
should be involved. That was, I feel, yes, left it out. That I just want. On the
Okay.
Anushilanam,
Yeah,
that is
yes,
that
Prabhu.
point should.
Okay.
Of course, other things are all more or less this thing. Yeah.
Okay. So the second line, Prabhu, actually the first line of this verse, Anya Abhilashita Shunyam. So can you explain Anya Abhilashita Shunyam Jnana Karmadi Anavratam, the first line of this verse, 11th verse? Jivan Prabhu?
Anya Abhilashita Shunyam. Actually, this is coming under the secondary characteristics, Prabhuji. It is coming under the this thing.
Correct. So
free from material desires. And Abhilasha means a desire. Abhilashita means it's a tendency to desire. And here one exception is given. Actually, even the example was given was Draupadi praying for her protection from this, and temporary or any circumstantial desire, which once somebody faces, does not come under the category. But Anya means free from material desires. And with the exception, this particular thing. This is what just
And Jnana Karmadi Anavratam?
Jnana Karmadi Anavratam, this is coming under, again, it is under the secondary this thing. Anavratam means uncovered or avoiding. Means not covered by Jnana means not covered by the philosophical speculation, and karma is the fruitive activity should be, and all these other things. Jnana means cultivating the jnana about impersonal Brahman. Karma means fruitive activities, and again there this nitya, naimatika, done in varnashrama. Adi means these things, yajna, renunciation, and yoga, mysticism, and Sankhya. These are all the things. This is coming under the secondary characteristics, and this should not be this thing. I mean, it should be avoided.
Okay, very good, Prabhuji. Aapne, you have covered all the points in a very detailed way, in a very accurate way. So thank you very much. Very nicely done. Now let me also share my response. Now, the best way to learn this definition is break the definition into individual words and keep on adding words like we should start from the end, last line, and then keep on adding words to it, because each word when we add to it, it means some detail has been added. So for example, Shilanam, definition of Uttama Bhakti, first of all starts with Shilanam. So the verse goes like this: Anya Abhilashita Shunyam Jnana Karmadi Anavratam Anukulyena Krishna Anushilanam Bhaktir Uttama. So what is Uttama Bhakti? It is Anukulyena Krishna Anushilanam. So the last line, the second line actually is the primary characteristics of Bhakti. The main characteristic of Bhakti is in the second line of this verse. So in the second line of this verse, we go to the end. So first of all, Shilanam. Shilanam means Bhakti is an activity. It is a cultivation. It is not simply sitting on a chair and thinking about something, just wondering about getting some emotion, philosophically contemplating and so on. No, it is not that. It is a activity, actively done by senses and our body. So cultivation means actively done by body, mind and words. And inactively means by avoiding something. Whatever is not permitted, we avoid those activities. Whatever is permitted, we do those activities by our body, mind and words. So that is actually cultivation. So it is a Shilanam. Shilanam means activity. Then add Anushilanam. We add Anu to the word Shilanam. Anu means according to someone, under some guidance. So this is an activity, but this is an activity not done by our own whims and fancies. This is an activity done under the guidance of some predecessor acharyas. That is what we need to remember. Then Krishna Anushilanam. Now for whom we are doing this activity? We are doing this activity under the guidance, but for whom? So Krishna Anushilanam. Here we need to understand what is meant by Krishna. Krishna means Lord Krishna himself. His expansions. Expansion means Lord Ramchandra, Narsingadev, Varhadev, Matsya Avatar, and so on. Then persons related with Krishna. Persons related with Krishna means devotees. Persons related with Krishna means our spiritual master, our guru, like that. So Krishna Anushilnam. Then Anukulyena Krishna Anushilanam. Anukulyena means this should be done with a favorable attitude, without any hostility. Favorable attitude means sometimes people say that we should do this activity for pleasing Krishna. But sometimes Krishna is also pleased when Ravan fights with Krishna. So is Ravan doing a devotional service because Krishna is getting pleased? Is fulfilling his desire for fighting with a demon? But no, we cannot say that Ravan is a Uttama Bhakta because he is not doing it with a favorable attitude. Ravan is doing this activity with an attitude of harming Krishna. But then again somebody say that Mother Yashoda also ran after Krishna, but Krishna was not getting pleased. So is Mother Yashoda doing Uttama Bhakti? Yes. Although Krishna is not getting pleased by Mother Yashoda, he is getting fearful. But Mother Yashoda is doing it with a favorable attitude, without any hostility. Mother Yashoda do not have any hostility for Krishna. So it is Mother Yashoda activity will be called as Anukulyena Krishna Anushilanam. Although Krishna is not becoming pleased, but Ravan's activity is not under Uttama Bhakti. Although Krishna might be deriving some pleasure with that fight, but Ravan's activity is not considered as Anukulyena Krishna Anushilanam because it is not done with a favorable attitude. So this is how we should understand this whole second line of Uttama Bhakti. Shilanam, it's an activity. It is to be done under some guidance. It is to be done for Krishna. Krishna means his expansion, people related with Krishna. And it has to be done with a favorable attitude, without any hostility. Then the secondary characteristic of bhakti is mentioned in the first line of this verse number 11. And that is Anya Abhilashita Shunyam. What does it mean? Shunya means zero. Zero means free from material desires. We should not do this activity, bhakti, that we will get some money, we will get some name, we will get some fame, we will get some mystical powers. We should not be doing it with any of those motives. So that is why it is free from material desire. Shunyam, no material desires. But when we talk about no material desire, there is an exception. And that is why it is known as Anyabhilashita and not Anyabhilasha. So Abhilasha versus Abhilashita. What does it mean? There is an exception. Say in some emergency situation, in some very extreme situation, if we are probably facing our death threat or maybe some real emergency, then in that situation we can actually pray to Lord Krishna to protect our life for self-preservation, like what happened in the case of Draupadi. When Draupadi was being disrobed, she actually prayed to Krishna to save her honor. Now somebody might say that if it is Anyabhilashita Shunyam, then praying for saving someone's honor is also an abhilasha. So is that falling apart from the category of Uttama Bhakti? Is Draupadi not an Uttama Bhakta? No. And that is what Anyabhilashita has been mentioned, that under some emergency situation, if a devotee may have to pray to the Lord for self-preservation, then still that devotee falls under the category of Uttama Bhakta. That desire for self-preservation doesn't rule out a devotee from this category of Anyabhilashita Shunyam. He's still following under the framework of Uttama Bhakti definition. Then Jnana Karmadi Anavritam. Now for Anyabhilashita Shunyam is mentioned, but for Jnana and Karma Anavritam is mentioned. Why? Because in practice of bhakti, we follow jnana, but jnana related to Krishna, jnana related to bhakti. That jnana is favorable, that jnana is acceptable. So it is not called jnana karmadi shunyam. Why not shunyam? Because we need jnana in bhakti. We need karma in bhakti. Karma means shilanam, activity. We need to do some activity. But here karma means that activity. For example, like karma kanda activity, asking for any benediction, asking for any material benefit, that is actually means karma. So Jnana means impersonal liberation. So whenever we are doing this bhakti, whenever we are doing this activity of bhakti, it should be devoid of these two activities. Jnana, which means uncover jnana with impersonal liberation, and karmadi means uncover any fruitive activities. So that is the definition of Uttama Bhakti. Now I just want to check with the devotees, is that definition clear? Is that definition confusing or clear? If you remember this definition like this word by word and stage by stage, this becomes very, very clear. Any feedbacks, quick feedbacks? Manish ji?
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji.
This breakup you have mentioned very nicely, so very clear.
Very clear, Prabhu. Okay. Okay, Prabhu. Let us move. Match the columns. So now these are different type of liberations, muktis. So Salokya, what is the answer? Salokya?
Same planet as Lord.
Lord, very good. Okay, now next one, Sarsti, Vidya Mataji, you like to answer? You are muted, Vidya Mataji. You need to unmute. Sarsti,
That is Prabhuji, same opulence as Lord.
very good. Okay. Sarupya,
Same form
Can
as
I
Lord.
answer?
yes, Mataji, you can answer.
Same form as Lord.
Okay. Samipya,
Associate of Lord.
associate of Lord. Okay. Aikatvam, now remaining one. Oneness
Oneness
with the Lord.
with Lord.
Okay. Now that is very good answer. Now what we need to understand in all these liberation is that the first four that you see, Salukya, Sarshti, Sarupya, Samipya, all these four liberations are actually personal liberations. Personal liberation means we go to the Vaikuntha planet, and in the Vaikuntha planet, we get the same planet where the Lord is also residing. Sarshti means we get to have those kind of opulences which the Lord is enjoying. Sarupya means our appearance will be same as the Lord appearance. We will look similar to what Lord looks like, except for maybe very small differences. We will be looking exactly like the Lord. Samipya means we will become a personal associate of the Lord, Parshad. We will be working in close quarters with the Lord. So all these four liberations are personal liberations, and they are very much under the definition of Uttama Bhakti. But Aikatvam means oneness with the Lord. Oneness with the Lord means like it is similar to like impersonal liberation. So that is not under the framework of Uttama Bhakti, Aikatvam. But other four, Salokya, Sarshti, Sarupya, Samipya, they are still under the framework of personal bhakti. But the Uttama Bhakti or the pure devotee of the Lord actually don't want even these four, Salokya, Sarshti, Sarupya, Samipya. What they want is, as we now coming back to the definition of Mangalacharan, the very first verse, Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu means where Lord Krishna has been described as Akhila Rasamrit Murti. So they want something, nothing less than what the gopis are experiencing with the Lord Krishna. That Bhakti Rasa, that personal association with the Lord, like what the gopis are enjoying, the Uttama Bhakta actually desire and aspire for that. They don't even desire Salokya, Sarshti, Sarupya, and Samipya. And Ekatvam anyway has been ruled out from the framework of Bhakti. So they want simply going to the Golok Dham Vrindavan to become to personally serve the Lord there. That's what the Uttama devotees, pure devotees actually want. So here we understood about the various type of liberations, but also understood about the differences between personal liberation and impersonal liberation, and also that Salokya, Sarshti, Sarupya, Samipya is still under the purview of pure devotional service. But even higher is the devotional service of Lord Krishna in Golok Dham Vrindavan. So those devotees who are in Salokya, Sarshti, Sarukya, Samipya, they can further advance to the Golok Dham Vrindavan level if they develop attraction towards the Supreme Lord Krishna. 6 qualities of Uttama Bhakti. Write the Sanskrit names of 6 characteristics of pure devotional service and briefly write what each of these means. So anyone would like to answer? Apart from Rakesh Prabhu and Jeevan Prabhu? Manish ji, yes.
The 6 names are Kleshagni, Shubhada, Moksha, Lagukrit,
Lagutakrit, yes, yes.
Sandra Ananda Vishwatma,
Visheshatma.
Shri Krishna Akarshani.
And Sudurlabha, did you say?
Yes, I said it.
Okay. So what is Kleshagni, Manish ji?
Kleshagni destroys material suffering.
Mm-hmm.
Then Shubhada is bestows auspiciousness.
Mm-hmm.
Moksha Lagutakrit disregards liberation.
Mm-hmm.
Sudurlabha rarely attained.
Mm-hmm.
Sadra Ananda Visheshatma manifest condensed bliss.
Mm-hmm.
And Shri Krishna Akarshani attracts Shri Krishna.
Attracts Shri Krishna. Yes. Very good. Now you can see here, if you remember all these 6 names, you will remember the understanding of the definition of these bhakti. Klesh Agni. Agna means to destroy. It is not Agni. Agni means fire, but Agna, Gha se ghar. So Klesh Agni means it destroys all kind of material distress. So whatever material distress we may have in our life, Shuddha Bhakti, Uttama Bhakti destroys immediately all these material distress, and it brings immediate relief. So you will also experience that once you start practicing bhakti, all of a sudden you start experiencing some relief from the material distress, some relief. So that is a kind of a example or a proof that bhakti process is working. Shubhada is related with Kleshagni, because once our kleshas are getting reduced, getting destroyed, we feel Shubhada, we feel auspiciousness. Like for example, disease. As our fever start to come down, we start feeling healthy and healthy and healthy. We start feeling relief. We start feeling better and better. Moksha Lagutakrat. Moksha Lagutakrat means Shuddha Bhakti makes even liberation seem too small. Laghu means small. Krit means it makes it small. Moksha means liberation. So the happiness that we derive from moksha or liberation seem very, very tiny in front of the happiness that we derive from Uttama Bhakti. That is why the third characteristic is Moksha Laguta Krit. Sudurlabha. Sudurlabha means it is rarely achieved. It is rarely achieved. Although Lord Krishna, I think there is a question around Sudurlabha in the coming slide. Maybe we'll discuss it then. And then Sandranand Visheshatma. Sandranand Visheshatma means the kind of bliss that we receive from bhakti is so dense, it is so thick that no other pleasure actually can penetrate inside the bliss that we experience from bhakti. Like we gave you the example during the class, steel versus air. In the air, we can penetrate anything. But if we have a steel block and we want to penetrate inside that block, we cannot go inside the steel block. Because why? It is very, very dense. The density of steel is in several thousands, something like 8,000, 9,000. But density of air is how much? Only 1 kg per meter cube. So it is so condensed bliss that nothing else can penetrate inside this bliss. And then Sri Krishna Akarshini. So when Uttama Bhakti is attained by someone, Lord Krishna actually becomes, he starts getting controlled by that person. Is like Srimati Radhika Rani. So Radhika Rani says something, Krishna cannot say no. So that is why Uttama Bhakti is so rare, that it is so nice that even the Lord can actually get attracted by this Uttama Bhakti. We move to the next one. 3 causes of distress. So now we are talking about our questions. Now following questions will talk about each of these qualities. Maybe not all I may have covered in the questions, but most of them I have tried to cover. So the 3 causes of distress means klesha. What are the 3 causes of distress? Distress in Sanskrit would mean klesha. So who can answer that? Maybe, okay, this is for the multiple choice. Avidya bhogam papam, avidya bijam prarabdha, avidya bijam papam, krodha bijam papam. So what is the correct answer?
See, Prabhu.
C. Avidya, bijam and papam. Manishji, can you also explain the meaning of each of these words, avidya, bijam and papam?
Yes, Prabhu. Avidya is nothing but ignorance, so you don't know about what is happening, or you completely ignore what you are doing and just do the papa. So papa bijam, nothing but it is a bijam. That is you sow the seed of sin there. Yeah, like you have some material desire or something, and then you sow the seed, and then papam is nothing but the sinful reaction which you receive. So avidya, papa bijam, and papam.
Okay. Good answer, but I think there is a scope for some improvement there. Let us hear another answer if somebody would like to respond to that. There's a little scope of some further improvement there, specifically in the definition of avidya and in the definition of papam. And then maybe relating with each other, each of these things relating to each other. This is something which is progressive, one after the other. So if somebody can explain that in a progressive way. Manishji, you want to try again?
No, you mean to say the papam which has the aprarabdha and prarabdha papam, something you wanted that definition, or?
Yeah. No. Okay, first of all, avidya. Can you clarify on avidya? Anyone else?
Avidya
Yes, boss.
is ignorance. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Can I answer?
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu. Avidya, ignorance of what, Prabhu?
Ignorance of ownership. We think that we are the owner, and we forget that Lord is the owner of everything. So we try to lord over the material world.
Yes. And when we try to lord over the material world, then what happens?
Then we start this thing, papam. Or first is the seeds of the papam bijam, and then actually we start committing sins.
Yeah. So when we think that we are the owner, then that actually that actually infuses within us material desires that we can enjoy. We can enjoy this world. This property belongs to me. This money belongs to me. This family that I am holding, actually I am the master. And when we have this material desire, that is called bijam. Bijam means having the seed of material desire. And why it is coming? It is coming because we don't understand what is our true position, and that is avidya. Like Vasudevan Prabhu mentioned, ownership, misunderstanding about the ownership. We misunderstand, like for example, a person is working in a company. Now he thinks that now he is the owner of the company. Now when he thinks owner of the company, what he starts to do? He starts to take the laptop of the company. He starts to use that car of the company for his own personal use. He starts to desire that no, this car actually belongs to me. This laptop actually belongs to me, and he starts to misuse that independence or misuse that power that he has been given as an employee of a company, and then company catches him. Why are you using this car? This is not meant for you for your own use. This is supposed to be used for the purpose of the company. That is papam. So avidya means incorrect understanding of ownership. Because of incorrect understanding of ownership, we develop incorrect desires. Desires means to enjoy ourselves. And because of those desires, we create or we do some sinful activity. Like the employee who misunderstands that he's actually the owner of the company, develop the desire to misuse the assets of the company and actually misuses those assets of the company. That is the papam. And when he does this papam, he gets klesha. He gets distress. The company catches him and either terminates the employee or maybe demotes him or put some penalty on the employee like that. So this is how you can see avidya, bijam and papam. They are all related with each other, starting from the root cause, which is avidya. Now, what does Uttama Bhakti do? Uttama Bhakti destroys papam, papa haratvam. Uttama Bhakti destroys bijam, bij haratvam. And Uttama Bhakti even destroys avidya, avidya haratvam. That is the level of Klesh Agni. That is the complete toto. In total, it destroys the distresses at the level of avidya, at the level of bijam, at the level of papam. So the correct answer is avidya, bijam, papam, which is correct. But now you can see how there are so many subtle aspects of all these points, avidya, bijam, papam. How are they related with each other? How they are closely connected with each other. We need to understand that subtle nuances. Like you remember, we studied in the beginning what is the objective of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. There we understood understanding the philosophy and understanding the subtle nuances. Subtle nuances. These are the subtle nuances. Difference between avidya, bijam, papam. How are they related with each other? How they are progressive in nature and so on. And Uttama Bhakti destroys each of them. Now let us move. Prarabdha versus aprarabdha. Now what are we talking about here? We are talking about what is the difference between prarabdha papam and aprarabdha papam. Prarabdha papam and aprarabdha papam. So I think we have a descriptive answer to this. Vidya Mataji would like to answer. Yes, Mataji, please go ahead. You unmute yourself first.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I think
Yes.
the prabhuta papam karma, in which karma is matured and experiencing in present life. For example, that you gave of suffering from chronic diseases or low birth. And
Legal implications. Yeah.
And aprabdha papam is karma which is not yet matured and to be experienced in next life. Example, a person has committed crime, but he is not yet punished.
Yeah, not yet punished. Very good. Very good. Yeah. So, prarabdha papam, very nice answer, Mataji. Very correct answer. Sinful reaction matured being experienced in present life. Answer, chronic disease or examples, chronic disease, legal implications, low birth. Then aprarabdha means sinful reaction not yet matured but to be manifested in future life. Example is crime committed but not yet arrested. Now we can give more examples to it of aprarabdha and prarabdha. See, sometimes we get instant reaction. Sometimes not even maybe 5 seconds are over, we get a reaction. For example, you go to the road and you slap somebody. The person is going to slap you back. Instant reaction. That is instant prarabdha papam. You did some bad thing and instantly you get that reaction. Something little more delayed. For example, you eat too much heavy food in the night, in the dinner. Then next morning you get a reaction. Your stomach is upset. You get diarrhea or you get acidity, something. That is a little more instant reaction. Then, so these are some of the other examples which you can also relate to, that when we talk about prarabdha papam, it can be instant, maybe after 1 day, maybe after 3 days, maybe after a month, maybe after 1 year, like that. So that is prarabdha. And then aprarabdha means, as we already discussed, we have committed a sin, but the reaction is going to come very late. Sometimes after our first life, after our maybe 2 lives, 3 lives, 10 lives, and so on, like that. Sinful action causes unmanifest suffering in 2 ways. So papam causing unmanifest suffering. So now we are going into the detail of aprarabdha. Aprarabdha papam. A sinful reaction, papam, causes aprarabdha suffering in 2 ways. Explain with the help of an example. This is a little more subtle question, more detailed question. Let me see who can answer that. Yes, Vidya Mataji, you like to answer? Yes, Mataji.
Prabhuji, I will try. And this is continuation of what we, as I understood, is continuation of the previous one of Aprabdha papam, in which it is immediate versus gradual destruction of sinful reactions. Prabhuji gave the example of needle piercing the hundreds of lotus leaves, and this happens gradually, one by one, and then there is instantly bhakti that destroys both prabdha and aprabdha. And this can be achieved by chanting holy names of devotional service, and which helps to fix and purify and connects with Lord. Even a dog eater and the contamination from low birth can help to Krishna Bhakti. Like example is blazing fire that can burn to ashes all the sinful activities supplied to it.
Okay, Mataji, I think you took a different understanding of the question. Although whatever you mentioned with respect to gradual versus a little delayed, that is correct. But I think the objective of the question is something else. So I'm looking for maybe another answer. Anyone would you like to answer? Someone else?
Try.
Yes, Vasudevan, please. Yes.
So the 2 types of suffering is, one is direct, and direct when we say it is either a physical or emotional suffering caused by the aprarabdha. The other is indirect, in which your proclivity to commit sins is that is a reaction. Proclivity to commit more sins.
Correct.
That is the indirect. Those are the 2 types of sufferings.
Yes. Any example you would like to give?
Any example is like, let us say, any of the Rakshasas, Ravana or somebody. One is, he goes and shakes Mount Kailasha, and immediately there's a punishment from physical punishment from Shiva, his hand gets pressed, etc. There is getting a direct. Then there are other papas which he is committing, like over the Indra and other gods, etc., jailing the different planets, for which he doesn't get it is making him commit more sins.
Yeah. Okay. Let me clarify.
That's not a great example, but
no problem. I think you tried well, tried nicely. But let me give you a little more crisp example so that the situation is very, very clear. See, the point is, now we understood avidya, bijam, and papam. Papam means we did some sinful activity, and when we did some sinful activity, we are going to get reaction of that activity. One reaction we get within this lifetime, which is called prarabdha, and then another reaction we get after some lifetimes or few lifetimes, that is called aprarabdha. Now the question is, when we do a papam, then the unmanifest means aprarabdha reaction that we are going to get maybe a little later in a delayed way, that also is of 2 types. What are those 2 types? One, and Vasudevan Prabhu very rightly mentioned, one is direct. Direct means you are going to get that suffering in some form. And then another one is indirect. Indirect means that is actually also a suffering, but it is not a direct suffering. For example, we are not getting a disease or we are not getting a legal implication as such, but because of that suffering, we are moving towards that point anyway. That is why it is known as indirect suffering. So let me give you an example. It will be very clear by an example. So
Can we call
first
it
of
as
all,
Kutam, Prabhu?
Kutam, yes.
Sorry to
Kutam
interrupt.
means, yeah, Kutam. Kutam is proclivity. Yes, correct.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
direct physical or emotional suffering, then indirect suffering, and that indirect suffering means increased sinful proclivity. And this proclivity is something which is similar what Jivan Prabhu is mentioning. It is Kutam. Kutam means tendency to commit sin. Tendency to commit sin. So one is we get a suffering, and then second one is our tendency to commit sin actually increases. So example is, a person engaged in illicit sex will receive two types of reaction. So direct would be direct physical suffering or emotional suffering. What is direct physical suffering would be that he might contact some sexually transmitted disease, maybe AIDS or syphilis or something like that. Direct physical suffering. Emotional suffering would be that his wife will discover that my husband probably have an illicit affair with some other person, with some other lady, maybe a prostitute or so on. Then after some time, the wife will understand and she will file a divorce case. So that is direct suffering will come to the person, or emotional suffering will come through some maybe a wife or maybe some other relative and so on. That is example of direct physical or emotional suffering. Then increased proclivity means what? So once that person engage in that sexual activity, then he gets the tendency to engage in that sexual activity once again. His desire to engage in that sexual activity increases. So for example, the first time he went to the prostitute for that engagement, his intention or his intensity for engaging with that prostitute was maybe on a scale of 1 to 10 was at a level of 2. But after engaging, then his proclivity or his tendency to engage again, once again in that illicit activity increases from 2 to 3. So because it increases, that activity or that engagement for again and again engaging in that illicit affair will continue to increase. So there are two unmanifest reactions, unmanifest suffering will come, and this is also suffering, but this is an indirect suffering. So one is direct and one is indirect. Indirect means it increases the sinful proclivity. That's what we need to understand. So these are the two aspects, further building upon the point that we had in the 12th question. The 13th question is further building upon it. Okay, now let us come to the 14th one. What are the activities which nullify the sinful reaction but not the desired seed of sinful activities from the heart? Austerity and charity, performing of ritualistic ceremonies, both A and B, and none of these. So any response on that?
Both A and B.
Both A and B. Can you explain that response, Jivan Prabhu? Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, I think you may kindly go ahead, Prabhu. I'm not,
Okay.
I'm not able to, immediate thinking is not coming to that.
Okay. Now, see, what are we talking about here is, we are talking about, for example, we were talking about avidya, then bijam, and then papam. And we talked about that uttama bhakti will destroy papam, will destroy bijam, will destroy avidya, like in the previous question we studied. But instead of doing uttama bhakti, if some people are doing only austerity means tapasya. Tapasya could be maybe they are doing some meditation, they are sitting and then doing some meditation. Or instead of doing tapasya, they are doing some charity. They are opening up some anathalaya or some maybe water dispensers they have installed, like that. Or maybe they are doing some ritualistic activities, ritualistic ceremonies. They invited a purohit and they started doing some yajna. Let me do this yajna, let me do that ritual, that let me do that ceremony, let me do some shraddha, and so on. So these activities, what kind of sinful reaction, what kind of destruction they can do? Can they destroy avidya? Can they destroy bijam, or can they destroy papam? They are only able to destroy the papam. They are not able to destroy the bijam. They are not able to destroy the avidya. So that is what the question is. What are the activities which nullify the sinful reaction, but not the desire seed bijam of sinful activities from the heart? So if you do
Thank
only
you, Prabhu.
tapasya, yeah, if you do only tapasya, you do only dan, you do only some ritualistic activities, then it only destroys the papam. It does not destroy the avidya, or it does not destroy the, I would say, bijam. Like, let me go to the previous question. This one. So we know that avidya, bijam, papam. So if you do only yajna, dan, tapa, only do austerity, only do some charity, only do some yajna, then only papam or any sinful reaction will be reduced. Maybe some prarabdha reaction, that is going to come to your life, that is going to get reduced, or some aprarabdha reaction that is going to come in our future life, that is going to reduce. But whatever is there in the form of bijam, or whatever is there in the form of avidya, it is not going to get reduced. It is not going to get destroyed. So that is the potency of Uttama Bhakti compared to other activities, other spiritual activities like Yajna, Dan, and Tapa. So that is why I mentioned here limitation of pious activities.
Prabhuji, 1 minute, can I share one small? So there's a very interesting incident from the life of Guru Nanak, which illustrates this. So Guru Nanak went to this Kumbh Mela, and there he was in the Ganges Kumbh Mela, and all the sadhus, he was sitting on the shore, not taking bath. So all the other sadhus laughed at him. What is this? Guru Nanak, he has come to the Kumbh Mela and is not bathing in the Ganges, etc. So they laugh him. So he addresses them. He says, so you want to take bath in the Ganges, wash your sins, go back, commit more sins, and then come back after 12 years. So, which that illustrates that we have to stop our proclivity to perform sins, not try to wash away our sins.
Yeah, our sins, correct.
That's
not only wash away our
I
sins.
thought was very relevant to this question and answer.
Correct. Right. Very good. Very nice example, bro. Thank you.
So the bhakti only destroys the seed of sin and the sinful desires, correct?
Yeah, bhakti destroys from the root, avidya itself.
Correct.
When the avidya itself is destroyed, then there will be no material desire. And when there will be no material desire, you will not commit any sinful activity. So it destroys from the root. Avidya haratvam.
Yeah, so A and B, only you can get rid of your sinful reactions of the karma reactions.
Yeah.
Avidya and the sinful activities can only be cured by devotional service or bhakti. Right?
Yeah, so we also give an example in our class that like I gave this analogy of an example of sexually transmitted disease, somebody committing illicit sex and getting disease. So these austerity, charity, and ritualistic ceremonies are that it will only cure the direct physical disease, that it will cure maybe any AIDS the person might have got, or maybe any syphilis or gonorrhea, those kind of sexually transmitted disease. It will only cure the physical part, but the proclivity, but the tendency to have that sexual activity again, that it will not cure. But Uttama Bhakti will cure the tendency to have that sexual act once again. It will cure at that level. It will cure the bijam stage, material desire stage, and it will also cure the avidya stage.
Very clear.
अजामिला का भी एग्जांपल दिया था प्रभु जी.
Yes, अजामिल का भी एग्जांपल है. अजामिल का एग्जांपल ये है कि अजामिल was a Brahman. He was doing all his activities of yajna, dan, tapa, all his Brahmanical duties. He was doing very well. But when he saw that prostitute embracing with the low-class men, that yajna, dan, tapa could not save him from falling down into those all kind of illicit activities that he started doing after observing those Shudra and Shudrani. So, but what happened was, but when he saw, he chanted Narayan, he saw that Vishnu Duta come for his rescue, and then he got the lesson of his life, and then he started doing this Uttama Bhakti, pure Bhakti. Then he got completely rid of all that avidya, bijam, and papam. All that he perfected his life and went to the Lord. Very good example, Rakesh ji. Very relevant. Yes. Then 3 types of happiness. Name 3 different type of happiness. How bhakti is superior to the other 2. I think we are coming to the close. Another 1 or 2 questions.
Should I try to?
Yes, Prabhuji, please.
Material liberation and devotional service. And bhakti is superior, bhakti is superior than the other 2. Because it is eternal, others are temporary, and includes and exceeds pleasures found in others too.
Yes, ये तो डायरेक्टली स्लाइड में ऐसा कैसे ही दिया है ना आपने?
मैंने स्लाइड में पढ़ के ही कह दिया प्रभु जी।
हाँ, स्लाइड में पढ़ के ही बोलना था, वही पर्पस था। तो देखिए 3 टाइप ऑफ हैप्पीनेस. वन इज मटेरियल. मटेरियल मींस आपने अच्छा धन कमाया, यू हैव अर्नड मोर नेम, फेम, पावर, प्रेस्टीज. We get happiness from that. We go and watch movie, we get happiness. We go and play some cricket, we get happiness. So that is all material happiness. In Sanskrit, it's called Vaishayikam. So Vaishayikam word is coming from Vishaya. Vishaya means Vishaya of the senses, subject matter of the senses, where the senses feel enjoyed. That is material happiness. Liberation means Brahmam. Liberation means impersonal liberation. And devotional services, we get happiness from doing bhakti also. So what it says is devotional service is superior to both material happiness and liberation happiness in 2 ways. One is quantity, another is quality. One is duration, and the other one is quantity. Duration means it is eternal. It lasts forever. Then quantity means it includes and excels pleasure found in the other 2, material and liberation. So that is what we can understand. Then the rarity of Uttama Bhakti. Why is pure devotional service rare? Because it can't be achieved through one's own effort. Because it can't be achieved through one's own effort, and Krishna is reluctant to give it. Pure devotee of Krishna is reluctant to give it. Pure devotee of Krishna and Krishna are reluctant to give it. So what is the correct answer?
B, Prabhuji.
B. So very good. So why pure devotional service is rare? Because by our own efforts we cannot do it. If we do yajna, dan, tapa, continue to do everything without asakti, without having a positive intent to achieve Krishna, we cannot achieve simply by our own efforts. Then the second point is, even Lord Krishna is very, very reluctant to give it. And why Lord Krishna is reluctant to give it? Because once he gives Uttama Bhakti or pure Bhakti to someone, then the Lord gets controlled by that devotee. So the Lord gives it really, really to only that person who is really qualified for that job. So that is why Uttama Bhakti is very, very rare.
Prabhuji, so I selected D, which I thought was similar to B, pure devotee of Krishna and Krishna reluctant to give it.
So pure devotee of Krishna is always eager to give it. Pure devotee of Krishna is always eager to give it, but Krishna is not Krishna is reluctant to give it. If you come in contact with a pure devotees want that you become pure devotee in next day itself. He would like to teach you, he would like to guide you, but the idea is that Krishna doesn't want to give it. He is very reluctant to give it. Okay. But if you please a pure devotee of Krishna, then Krishna can easily give it to you, that Uttama Bhakti. But pleasing pure devotee of Krishna is also not an easy job. Yeah. Anyway, last one. Krishna is most attracted by. What attracts Krishna the most? Austerity, simplicity, chanting the hymns of Vedas, pure devotional service. So this is a sitter, easy one.
D, Prabhuji.
Yes, D, pure devotional service. So Sri Krishna Akarshini. So Uttama Bhakti is Sri Krishna Akarshini. It attracts even Lord Krishna. So we gave you the example that everyone is attracted by Madan. Madan means Kamdev. But Madan gets attracted by Krishna. So that is why Krishna name is Madan Mohan. One who even attracts Madan, Kamdev. But then Srimati Radhika Rani is known as Madan Mohan Mohini. Means Srimati Radhika Rani attracts even Lord Krishna. And why? Because she has pure devotional service for Lord Krishna. So that is what we want to emphasize with all these slides, with all this revision exercise. I hope that all these subtle points, all relevant gaps in your understanding of nectar of devotion so far would have improved. Maybe they have gone, or your understanding have improved further. So can you give me a quick feedback, devotees who are assembled here? Have that improved your understanding, or still this book Nectar of Devotion is very, very difficult or very, very complex? We will start with Pradeep Prabhu first. Pradeep ji?
Prabhuji, let me tell you, I understood a little bit more today with this test and listening to the answer and listening to the other people. So it did help me a little bit, but it's still deep for, it's still deep for me.
Okay.
But thank you.
No worries. Good to have that feedback.
And I'm not going to drop out. I'm still going to attend.
Don't worry about that. Yeah, no problem. But other devotees, any quick feedback so that we know what is the status? That was the objective of doing this.
Can I share, Prabhuji?
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes.
One thing is in a lighter vein. This is one of the tougher workshops. So since we had to really properly think, understand, and write Excel, that itself is a part answer to your question. And second, this thing is this. See, one is revision is very good, but the way the questions were framed, so we had to think, understand, and answer. It was not simple. Just you look at it and answer.
Yeah, select an option.
So I think that really makes one contemplate also a little bit on the answer, not just give some answer. It's not like a question answer that you're doing in an examination. And I think that's the most important thing in all these things. The more we contemplate, the more we do it, we learn more. And it's a learning is a never-ending process in these subjects. So that's it. This questionnaire made us contemplate more.
Yeah. And that contemplation, the first stage of understanding starts from the contemplation itself. When you ask yourself, then you ask, no, I don't understand this. Then you read. Then you once again try to go deeper. Then you once again more contemplate. And that's how you try to achieve at the correct answer or the best answer that you think. And then you come up to the quiz. Then you interact with the teacher. Then the teacher might add a couple of more points or little more add to the understanding which we already developed. So coming to the class, then attending the quiz or maybe participating in the quiz means doing the quiz, and then coming to the class and interacting with the discussion with the other devotees and with the teacher itself, with the facilitator itself. That is the learning process. And then when that learning process happens, that brings purification. The end result of studying scripture is purification. You get rid of lagpai, lust, anger, greed, pride, illusion, envy. Because when you contemplate, when you do manan, when you do chintan, when you do manan, that brings that purification of heart. And that brings you realization that makes you a much deeper and a much better devotee because your realization has improved, because your understanding has improved, your conviction has improved. That is the way and that is the reason this course has been designed the way it has been designed. So thank you very much with that feedback, Vasudevan Prabhu. Any other feedback by other devotees?
प्रभु जी आज की क्लास में जो हमने देखा वो तो सब बहुत अच्छा लगा, समझ में आ गया प्रभु जी। मगर
जी।
इस इतने तक कुछ और भी है जिसके लिए क्विज और बनाई जा सकती है?
Prabhu, what we have done in the class today is we have taken out the references that Srila Rupa Goswami has given, lot of references. So we just came back and focused mainly on the key points, the points that Rupa Goswami has originally introduced without any references. Now, if you want to do more classes, something maybe we can try and plan more on the references, but that is something additional and building upon that already what we have done together. So my point is, if you understand these many topics that we have understood in the quiz today, more or less the philosophical point or the philosophical aspect of nectar of devotion, we have covered very nicely. We have covered it more or less, most of it. Otherwise, we can continue to go deeper and deeper on many other things, but we have limited time and limited energy and resources. So we want to do we want to achieve most in the given opportunity that we have. But if you understand this much as a teacher, as a facilitator, I would say you are okay, you are doing good, your learning has achieved what the objective of the class is. So yeah.
Prabhuji, because of this class, I think our rasa has got more stronger now. That is what I can tell.
Okay.
That was very helpful.
Okay. Good.
Hare
Okay then.
Krishna.
Yes, Kartar Prabhuji, boliye. हाँ जी.
I have to confess something.
बताइए.
It was the least I could really understand, and I could, because from the beginning I was having difficulty in understanding this part of my classes, and
Okay.
because this is the first time in my total life till today I heard first time. So right from
Okay.
the beginning, I had a lot of difficulty in understanding, and
Uh-huh.
today was really very difficult for me. That's
Okay.
why I did not utter a single word throughout
No
the
problem.
class. So,
Okay.
but
Yeah.
definitely it does help. It does help. But I'm feeling today very low that my participation was zero.
No.
And,
Don't worry about it. This is a difficult book. We all acknowledge it, and
yeah.
it's a technical book. So certainly it will take a little more effort and
Just
time.
one thing, Prabhuji. Even
Yes.
listening is participation, Kartarji.
Yes.
Presence is
Participation is not
participation.
just speaking. Sometimes listening is a very important part of participation.
Well, this
Just
is
my 2 cents on this.
This is the beauty of this class and the beauty of our Guruji, that all Satsangi are so cooperative and you are encouraging me, and maybe I will put up some efforts and listen again and again. This, like Om Tat Sat, I have read and heard and listened many times, but that day when I was in class, I understood quite a bit. I heard 3 times the recording to understand a simple thing very well. And it's, but against all my classes till today, this was the sort of 0 rating for me from my side. And I'm sure I did not speak anything. There's no rating from my Guru side.
Only thing, Kartar Prabhu, I will tell you, you are not the only one. So we are together, buddy.
Thank you.
So we have a partner, Pradeep ji. You have a partner, Pradeep ji.
Thank you, Pradeep ji.
Okay, but anyway, I appreciate. I appreciate the trust and the candidness and the openness everyone has come out, whether they understood or not understood or not at all understood. So certainly helps me as a facilitator to know what it is. But now onwards, as I was mentioning in the beginning also, it will be more practical devotional service, at least till chapter number 16. And then maybe after chapter 16, once again, when we start talking about Bhava Bhakti and Prema Bhakti, again it will become a little technical. But please be assured that next few classes it will be more of a practical bhakti. So that should be easily understood by one and all. That is for sure. I can say. So with that, we'd like to sign off now from this session. Thank you very much for doing all the hard work, all the labor. Certainly, this is going to benefit you only, and we will continue our discussion. I think next week there will be a Janmashtami celebration within our complex here in Shobha City in Bangalore. So I will not be able to conduct a class next Sunday. We will start our classes on Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Nectar of Devotion, following Sunday. Now today is 14th, so 21st, 28th will be our next class. But for Janmashtami, on Wednesday when we are having our Hindi class, you are cordially invited for Krishna Katha on Krishna Leela. We will continue with whatever Krishna Leela we discussed last time from Srimad Bhagavatam. In Hindi, we will organize it 5 p.m. till 6:15 p.m. You are all cordially invited on the eve of Janmashtami. Please come and get yourself immersed in some Krishna Katha. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. Hare Krishna.
Guruji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Guruji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna to all.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji and Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
to all.
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna to all the devotees.
Thank you, Ji.
Thank you.
Dandavad Guruji. Dandavad.
Dandavad ji.
And thank you for accepting ignorance.
No worries. No worries.
Please don't reject us.
Hare.
For me, I don't want to say.
No, no.
But Ji did give me company, but it's still I stand for pardon.
Yeah. Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Yeah.
See you in the next class. Thank you. Hare
Jai
Krishna.
Guruji. Jai Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.